Today's show is brought to you by patrons as well as YouTube channel members. Thank you all for supporting independent progressive media. In preparation for Dump 2.0, Mark Zuckerberg, CEO of Meta, has decided to kill fact-checking. That's right. In a 5-minute video, the alleged human, Zuckerberg, says that based on feedback that he had received, gee, I wonder from whom, that he will be getting rid of all third-party fact checkers and switching to a community note system, which does not require him to pay anybody to do any fact checking. By the way, it's all crowdsourced. So, wonder if that has anything to do with it. And then made some decisions like, we're gonna foster some free speech here on Facebook because we're gonna get rid of the censorship and do all that, all this right-wing language, right? Censorship, hilarious, right? He says that Meta's fact checkers have been too politically biased and have destroyed more trust than they've created. Yes, I know. It's really bizarre because we live in a time where facts are no longer facts. They're no longer considered to be facts. I don't know. I don't like it, so therefore it's not a fact. But it is. A fact is still a fact, even if you don't like it. If it makes your feelings, it makes you have big feelings, big sad feelings, or big mad feelings. It doesn't matter. A fact is a fact. And so you have to deal with facts. But there's a group of people now in this country that have decided, no, we're not going to deal with facts. We don't care about facts. We don't care about real information because it doesn't fit my narrow worldview. So I don't like it. I'm just going to completely ignore it. And, okay, sure, you want to ignore facts by yourself. All right, in your own life, whatever, okay? But no, they've expanded that to, I don't care about facts so much, I hate facts so much that now I'm going to be the arbiter of what is real and what is not. Not just for me, but for you. And that's the world that we're living in right now that has delivered us to Donald Trump. All right? And so, now, personally, yeah, I'm still on Facebook. Obviously, I post videos here on Facebook and on YouTube. And, I've got my personal account. And, I talk with family members and friends from, high school and things like that. So I'm there. And let me tell you what, I have not seen a fact check on Facebook since COVID. Haven't seen one. And look, honestly, it's probably what the right wing has been whining about the whole time. Like, how dare you tell me not to eat the horsey paste? Facebook, you're not my mom. Okay. Like, you want to eat the horsey paste? Go ahead and eat the horsey paste. Nobody cares. Right? It's so ridiculous. But again, a lot of this is Republicans coming up to Congress and complaining, right? And this was, by the way, after Democrats had complained as well, like in 2017, with the whole Cambridge Analytica stuff and, Russian bots, buying all these ads and stuff. And, I guess tanking Hillary Clinton, which really, I think Hillary Clinton did more to tank Hillary Clinton than the Russian bots did. Though I'm sure I guess they had some impact on at least public perception. Because, look, there's a lot of valid reasons not to like Hillary Clinton, in my opinion, as a leftist. But it's really funny that there's a lot of right-wingers that think, you guys must love Hillary Clinton and Joe Biden. No, we actually don't. We actually don't like them more than you. But we just don't like them based on legitimate reasons instead of the weirdo crap you guys come up with. Okay? You're like, Hillary body double. No, you're bizarre, crazy people. Y'all are crazy. All right, and that's one of the big problems with Facebook is it's home for crazy, and it didn't get fact checked. And so at least I've never seen it. I've never been personally fact checked, which kind of tells you something that I generally dealt with reality. That said, they were probably whining about the horsey paste and all the COVID stuff and all that. And as a result, you had a bunch of right wingers in Congress that were crying about it. And now you have Zuckerberg saying right before Trump takes office again, you know what? We're going to drop all these moderation policies. We're going to go totally free speech. Right. In fact, he said that the tech firm's content moderation teams will not only be moved from California to Texas, right? Well, along with all the other changes that he's making, doing less moderation, and he's even moving the teams to Texas. Quote, where there is less concern about the bias of our teams. Less concern. Note how it's like, well, I'm just tired of people complaining that our moderation teams are biased. So we're going to move them to Texas, where they're absolutely going to be biased just by the other side. Congratulations. Look, a lot of this is about paying people less, obviously, but also currying favor with the administration, but most importantly, or the next administration, but most importantly, making money for Mark Zuckerberg. Okay? I mean, those meta losses for the metaverse that nobody wanted to be in are staggering. Staggering. And so, look, he's going to Texas. He's going to hire the bottom of the barrel for real cheap. Okay. So, and there's not going to be labor, issues there. I guess. Well, there will be labor issues, but there's no labor protections in Texas. A lot less. Certainly not as stringent as they are in California. He will be able to pay people less there, and so yeah. The whole idea that Texas is less biased than California, total joke. Okay, total joke, hilarious. Now that said, he did admit in the video that changes to the way that the Meta the filters content, it means we're going to catch less bad stuff. So admitting that there's going to be a lot of trash. Oh my God, it's going to be a fire hose of trash, of garbage, fake news. But you know what? We don't care as long as nobody drags me in front of Congress and I keep making money. And that's the whole point. Okay. Now, in addition to the elimination of fact checking, Zuckerberg also announced that Meta will alter its content policies regarding some divisive issues such as immigration and gender. I can already see which way this is going to go. He said, what started as a movement to be more inclusive has increasingly been used to shut down opinions. Gee, which one? And shut out people with different ideas. Right? And it's gone too far. So I want to make sure that people can share their beliefs and experiences on our platform. Which opinions and ideas have been shut down on immigration and gender? Could it be, I don't know, transphobic stuff? Could it be, anti-immigrant xenophobia that's been shut down? Yeah. So those are the opinions. Okay. But again, it's so incredibly obvious that this is an effort to ingratiate himself to Donald Trump and, most importantly, the Trump fans, the Trump audience. In fact, he literally said, we're going to work with President Trump to push back on governments around the world that are going after American companies and pushing to censor more. And not only has he done all of that and announced all of that, but look, he's chosen Joel Kaplan to be the company's top policy officer. Kaplan was a White House deputy chief of staff under former President George W. Bush. So neocon, and also worked as a law clerk for former Supreme Court Justice Antonin Scalia. So we know what way he's gonna run on things. Okay. Not only that, but Zuck also appointed Trump ally Dana White, who apparently, has some domestic violence allegations, charges against him, to the board of directors for the company. And Zuck had also donated $1 million to Donald Trump's inauguration fund. So obviously, look, anybody who, agrees with me and thinks that the timing here is a bit suspicious, you'll be correct. You'd be right. Now, they also said that they're going to bring back political content, okay, along with getting rid of fact checking. So I'm of a couple of minds on this, right? So, or a couple of different perspectives. Number one, money making scheme, okay? Yes, getting the chuds to come back to Facebook. I don't think they ever left, really, but judging at my comment sections, y'all still here. Great. Trying to make more money off political posts again. Okay. So that's one thing. But the other thing I think, as far as the timing, it's suspicious, is that I think the withdrawing of political content that happened started slowly at around 2021. Okay. And really was announced in 2023. I think that was actually more of a way to punish Democrats and left-leaners for daring to drag him into Congress to, answer for the Russian stuff, basically. Which, again, Zuck was just like, I just take money from everybody, man. I take money from anybody. Just give me money. Just give me the monies. That's all Mark Zuckerberg has ever been interested in. Money. And so, look, he got mad. He had his feelings hurt. Being brought in front of Congress to answer for this, when all he's like, I just want to go and I want to smoke some meat, man, in my backyard. That's all I want to do, and make money. And then you're making me answer these questions in front of Congress and accusing me of destroying democracy when I'm taking money from whoever. Oh, I hate this. I'm going to punish you by shutting down pretty much all political stuff on my platform. Everybody's going to suffer. Now that Trump's coming back in, now he's starting to open it back up. But I would be very surprised to see the left wing get treated equally the way the right wing will absolutely be. Will be promoted, and it'll be maybe another X situation. So I don't know. I think the feed is going to be a fire hose of nonstop right-wing fake news slop. Okay, I'm not talking about like normal right-wing opinion, like, I think tax rates are too high on the wealthy. Okay, or I think we just got too many banking regulations. It's kind of stifling our business a little bit. That's not what I'm talking about when I talk about right-wing opinion. We're talking about the nativist stuff. We're talking about, xenophobia. We're talking about transphobia. We're talking about racism. That's the stuff that's just going to be nonstop fire hose blast in your face, in your feed, everywhere. That's what I'm thinking. Now, here's the thing, right? I already told you I'm on Facebook, right? I have a much bigger YouTube audience. But I do have to say that even though my views and stuff have been just basically curtailed, just like pretty much everybody on Facebook at this point, to a really small core group. And among people in that core group, I've got some very dedicated hate watchers. And let me just say, thank you. I love you guys. You have kept this page alive after Zuck massively restricted political content. So thanks. Great. Yeah. But here's the thing, though. To you guys, you've all won this one. All right. He's opening up the trough. So the Ben Shapiros and everybody can come back. Okay. So enjoy your slot. You earned it. Just make sure that just to drop by once in a while. Give me a ha. Okay. tell me I'm a king of misinformation or whatever. And so I can get some engagement and help me make the mortgage payment. That's assuming, of course, that Zuck doesn't go full censorship on left-wing pages that are critical of billionaires. Okay. On that, I guess we're just going to have to see what kind of changes this brings. But as you can see, changes are coming. It appears that President-elect Donald Trump's legal team is trying to have Jack Smith's report censored. So Jack Smith's special counsel, in a letter to Attorney General Merrick Garland sent on Monday, Trump's lawyer said that they were allowed to review the special counsel's report in the documents case where Trump had kept classified documents that he took from the White House in his bathroom, in the shower, probably in the toilet, you know, the lid that you lift off of it in the tank, you know, wherever, right? After he left office, and then read it. And look, his lawyers threatened legal action to prevent this report from being released, which is kind of strange. Now, the motion filed late on Monday, the fourth anniversary of the January 6, 2021 attack on the Capitol, and it was the other case that Smith tried to bring against the now president-elect, also asks Judge Eileen Cannon to bar Smith from his plans to release his 2-volume report. Now, I've got some bad news on that one for America, not for him. Trump's lawyers argued that Smith's report amounts to little more than a politically motivated attack, and that making his public his findings in the classified documents case or the election interference case, Smith also would illegally interfere with Trump's presidential transition. That's their argument. How? Trump's already been certified as the winner. How could this affect his transition? Well, Trump's lawyer said that Smith's findings contain baseless attacks on other anticipated members of President Trump's incoming administration, which are an obvious effort to interfere with upcoming confirmation hearings. Well, maybe you should try to stop, you know, putting alleged criminals in your cabinet. No way, he can't. He can't. Now, attorneys for Trump's 2 co-defendants in the Mar-a-Lago case, the documents case, Walt Nauta and property manager Carlos de Oliveira, relied on a ruling from Judge Cannon that found that Smith was unlawfully appointed in asking her to block the report's release. So, oh yeah, no, Judge. I mean, you can't appoint Smith. I mean, that's so illegal. Or do you have rulings precedent on that? No, actually, we go completely contrary to the precedent. But I've ruled anyway because Donald Trump literally gave me this job, and I'm gonna do it, and that's what happened. Okay, now the final report, they write, relies on materials to which Smith, as disqualified special counsel, is no longer entitled access. Making his attempt to share such materials with the public is highly improper. Yes, sharing this information, that is highly improper. But, you know, the allegations of election interference and keeping classified documents and then refusing to give them back, that is not improper. But sharing the details of these alleged crimes, that is what is improper. Oh, okay. Smith's team, of course, responded with an early Tuesday morning filing saying the department can commit that the Attorney General will not release that volume to the public, if he does at all, before Friday, January 10th, 2025 at 10 a.m. Now, the reason that they use that date is because that's when Donald Trump gets sentenced in the New York hush money case. Yes, he has not escaped that, even though he actually won't be hit with any actual, like, no jail time, nothing like that. So it's a slap on the wrist. But nonetheless, it's one that is upsetting him quite a bit. So that's what it is. Hurts his feelings, big feelings. The biggest feelings. Now, Smith's team also appealed the ruling from Cannon that tossed the case against the 3 men, but because the case is still resting before the 11th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals, it's unclear whether Cannon actually had the power to take action in the case, but that didn't stop her anyway. As Tuesday afternoon, she issued an injunction to block the report until an appeals court in Atlanta decides what to do with it. So, yeah, she still, even though and this is a pattern with Judge Cannon. You know, not exactly sure what she can do, but she decides to do it anyway, all in an effort to defend and protect Donald Trump, because that's literally her job. That is why she was put in that position. So that said, while Smith's team has withdrawn charges against Trump, citing Justice Department policy against bringing charges against the sitting president, the case does remain ongoing for the two defendants. Trump's team writes in a letter to Garland, the draft report violates fundamental norms regarding the presumption of innocence, including with respect to third parties, unnecessarily impugned by Smith's false claims. Releasing the report to the public without significant redactions that would render its release meaningless would violate prohibitions on extrajudicial statements by prosecutors. This is particularly problematic with respect to ongoing proceedings relating to Waltine Nauta and Carlos de Oliveira, as well as others who Smith and his staff falsely characterized as co-conspirators in the draft report. So, look, here's the thing. Donald Trump himself, again, can't be charged for this, right? Just as co-conspirators, right? Because he was able to worm his way out of the charges, not by proving them wrong in court and fighting back, but by essentially winning a popularity contest. That's what voting is. Donald Trump was not proven to be innocent of these alleged crimes. And by the way, he also wasn't proven to be guilty of the charges, because we never had a trial. Whose fault is that? Again, blame Merrick Garland for some of that, but also Trump's team and the Supreme Court, which drug everything out to a point where, you had an election before you had a trial. And so that's what happened there. And as a result of this, of course, the charges were dropped due to a technicality, due to him being president of the United States. Now, that said, Cannon, as I mentioned before, she did drop the case because she said appointing the special counsel was unlawful, and the other one was stopped due to presidential immunity. But the report here, based on these letters and the fervency of which they're trying to prevent the release of the report, appears to be so damning that they cannot rebut it. They just want to bury it. And I think that's very interesting. Okay. Now, funny enough, Trump's legal team, in making this argument, actually argues that maybe he should have went to court. They write, Volume 1 of the draft report falsely asserts, without any jury determination, which you would get from court, that President Trump and others engaged in an unprecedented criminal effort, was head of the criminal conspiracies and harbored a criminal design. Likewise, Volume 2 asserts, without any supporting verdict, which you would get from a court, that Mr. Trump violated multiple federal criminal laws and that he and others engaged in criminal conduct. If you wanted to beat these charges, right, then I don't know, maybe you should have went to court and had this adjudicated instead of stalling. But look, no, the whole point here is to cover it up, okay, to make people forget about it, to legitimize Trump's alleged crimes, which you would need to do if your plan is to do more crimes. It appears that President-elect Donald Trump may be getting a little tired of Elon Musk just hanging around. Doesn't he have like a family? Doesn't he have like kids? Well, he's got kids, but no wife, because Grimes left him for a trans woman, and one of his daughters happens to be transgender. Weird. No wonder he's got an issue with trans people. Anyway, so he's spending all of his time hanging out at Mar-a-Lago, as according to New York Times journalist Maggie Haberman. And apparently him hanging around Mar-a-Lago so much is starting to chafe on the president-elect, supposedly. Now, this was her speaking to Kara Swisher. Haberman said, Trump does complain a bit to people about how Musk is around a lot. We've seen this story before, not just with Musk, but with, I don't know, Carrie Lake, with, what was it? What's her face? Now I forget. Laura Loomer, and how she was hanging around too much, and was asked to leave, essentially. And I wonder if this is going to happen with Elon Musk now. Now, the New York Times reported last week that after pouring more than $250 million into Trump's re-election effort, Musk has been renting the $2,000 per night Banyan College at Trump's private Mar-a-Lago club. The cottage is just a few hundred feet from Trump's main residence and transition team headquarters. So I guess it makes a certain amount of sense that if you're, working with the transition team, that you would have a residence located nearby. Okay, but still, it seems a little weird. Okay, for Elon Musk to just be hanging out. In fact, as a result of him being so close, Musk has been able to attend personal meetings and to crash dinners with rival tech billionaires like Amazon's founder Jeff Bezos. Okay, so that's got to be a little awkward, a little weird. In fact, Haberman said he really parked himself in Trump's face. That's an awkward picture. Very awkward. Now, look, that said, Trump might be annoyed, but obviously he's still with Elon Musk because Elon Musk is useful, at least for now. Now, Haberman says it's not exactly clear to her how long this is going to last. Apparently, Trump is getting a bit bothered with him being so close and crashing these meetings. And also, when you call Elon President Musk, yeah, it definitely bothers him, she says. The President Musk line was always going to be a way to get him. Trump's not a wind-up toy, but there certainly are very specific things that can zotz him. Interesting phrase. Haberman added, Trump is a one-ring circus, according to his longtime friends, and I'm not sure Musk has figured that out yet. Look, I don't know. I don't necessarily think Musk is a smart guy. Okay. He's one of those people that tries really hard to be smart, to appear smart, mainly by paying people to talk about how smart he is and to claim credit for things that he didn't actually do. He doesn't actually go out there and build cars or rockets or anything like that. No, he just buys up these companies and then changes the name, takes all the hype. You know how this works, right? So that said, right, maybe he's sitting there thinking, well, I gave Donald Trump $250 million. There's nothing I can't get away with. That would certainly explain some of his behavior, hanging around Elon Musk hanging around Trump and kind of being a pain in the ass and getting all up in there, right? But again, I wouldn't be shocked if that were true. But I don't know for certain. That said, Haberman believes that Musk is going to try to stay physically close to Trump even after the inauguration is over, which could be a little bit difficult for him because there's a difference between Mar-a-Lago, which is a security nightmare, all right, and the White House. Okay, how close Musk is going to realistically be remains up for debate once Trump makes the move after January 20th. In fact, Haberman believes that, no, he's actually not going to be allowed to be that close. Quote, I don't anticipate that Musk is going to have an office in the West Wing. I don't even know that he will have a blue pass to wander around. So, obviously the blue pass, it gives you and your advisors access to the White House. Okay. I guess we'll know just how annoyed Trump is of Musk, if he actually is, once Trump moves. Who he gives a blue badge to and when he gives it to them matters a lot. Obviously, I think the close advisors are going to get him first. Chief of Staff, Susan Wiles, Deputy Chief of Staff, Stephen Miller. That makes sense, right? But Elon Musk, like I said, he's not going to be an official part of the cabinet. He's going to run an advisory committee. So perhaps at some point he might get a blue badge. Okay. I don't know. It would be funny though that he'll eventually get one because of his work on the Doge stuff. but like making him wait for it and maybe even beg for it. That would be funny. Um, and of course, I think the reason is because Musk is kind of irritating. I mean, he certainly is, getting on other people's nerves. In fact, Haberman said, I think a bunch of people around him are struggling with how aggressive Musk can be in their interactions. It's almost like he's awkward personally. Musk, she noted, seems more than willing to irritate Trump than some of his other advisors. But because he is willing and able to fund primary challengers, she thinks is why he's still getting away with it for now. Quote, it's like watching shifting sands around Trump. It's like this one's up, this one's down, but nobody's ever totally out. Now, look, here's the thing. This is fun, but I'm going to take it with a bit of a grain of salt. It's hearsay. It's insider opinions, of course, right? It's Haberman, New York Times. That said, yeah, I could definitely see how someone like Elon Musk could annoy the crap out of someone like Trump. You think that Donald Trump understands half the memes and references Elon is probably going on about? The guy renamed himself Kekius Maximus on his platform. What? Like, you think that Donald Trump knows where that comes from? No, no. He probably also doesn't give a damn. Okay. The thing about him is, keeping Musk around is because he's got money. It's pretty much the same reason that he kept Mike Pillow around for so long. Remember Michael Pillow? I don't think he's doing very well right now. All right. I don't think he's doing very well at all. But there you go. He kept him around for a while he still had money. Now Mike Pillow had no money. He says he's broke as a joke. So, but look, getting back to Trump, keep opening your wallet to him and you'll be amazed what he puts up with. Honestly, even if he doesn't personally like you, Donald Trump can't pass up free money. Okay. The man is 100% transactional. And if you have something that he wants, i.e. cash, then yeah, he's going to fake a smile to keep them dollars rolling. All right. Or also in the case of Musk, to try to keep those dollars from being used against him by the funding of primary candidates. That is not something that Trump wants to see used against him. So, once again, another reason to play nice with Musk, even if you might think he's getting a bit clingy, bit of a Klingon. Now that President Biden's Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has finalized a rule preventing medical debt from showing up on your credit report, Republicans are lining up to try to get rid of it. Really? Now, U.S. Senator Tim Scott, for example, new chair of the Senate Banking Committee, said last month, while this rule was still being debated before it had been finalized, that the CFPB should halt all rulemaking until President-elect Donald Trump takes office. Now, of course, that makes me think of, well, look, if some of these rules are popular, which a lot of them are, because they're actually protecting consumers, then he could allow them to be enacted and then take credit for them. Or he could just get rid of them because, well, the paymasters, the corporations don't want these rules. So there's two ways that he could go. Now, Scott said back at the time, it is paramount that President Trump can begin his administration on January 20th with a fresh slate to implement the economic agenda that the American people resoundingly voted for. Well, I tell you what, the economic agenda that Americans voted for and what they're going to get from Donald Trump are two completely different things. Okay. I just voted for the price of eggs to go down. Not going to happen. Not going to happen. Tariffs. You've got, all these different things that are going to have tax cuts for the rich, the tariffs, it's not going to make your life better. It's going to make rich people that much richer, and is not going to help you at all. But that said, that's what's going to happen. Now, Scott's comment suggests that Americans who voted for Trump did so in order to continue paying these overdraft fees, having their personal information sold by predatory data brokers, and getting penalized for owing medical bills, which is what these rules that the CFPB has, put into effect, cracked down on. Okay, since the election, very specifically. You want to undo all that? I don't know. You might want to check the polling here, because I'm going to guess that a lot of Americans are going to be like, wait, hold on, whoa. I actually like these rules. They protect me and my family. Now, months ago, there was an Associated Press poll where Americans said it was extremely or very important for the federal government to take action to help people with medical debt. And remember, medical debt, a lot of other countries, doesn't actually exist. We're the only major, OECD industrial country, modern nation that has medical debt and bankruptcy. People go bankrupt for getting sick, and they become homeless because of medical debt. And so, yes, most people saying, yeah, we should do something about that. Yeah, makes all the sense in the world. And then, of course, Biden, his CFPB actually does something about it. Republicans are immediately like, let's get rid of that. Oof. Oh, I hate that rule. Now, Noam Levy over at KFF Health News writes that the CFPB on Tuesday effectively dared the incoming Trump administration and its Republican allies in Congress to undo rules that are broadly popular and could help millions of people who are burdened by medical debt. So this is what makes me think like, Trump might not undo these. Why do I think that? Or he might call to not undo these. I don't know. I'm thinking that like the guy still wants to be popular in some way, right? But then, it also makes me think, yeah, but the ghoul he's going to put in charge of the CFPB is not going to care at all. It's going to defend corporations and undo all these rules. So now this rule specifically would remove $49 billion in unpaid medical debt from credit reports by amending Regulation 5, which implements the Fair Credit Reporting Act. Lenders are restricted from obtaining or using medical information to make lending decisions, but federal regulators have created an exception to that restriction, allowing companies to consider medical debt. The new rule ends that exception by banning medical bills on credit reports, which the CFPB said has led to a practice of using the credit reporting system to coerce payments even if the bills are inaccurate, as they frequently are, according to the agency. About 15 million people will be helped by this new regulation, with the credit scores of people with medical debt boosted by an average of 20 points. Look, obviously having a good credit report or good credit score is extremely important. I mean, it's tied to pretty much everything now. Whether you get a house or, apartment or even a job. So, and how are you supposed to get out of debt if you can't get a job because your credit's bad? Makes it real hard. And of course, you add in the healthcare portion, right? In a country where healthcare is very, very unaffordable because you have private corporations, the insurance industry, you have, for-profit hospitals, all this stuff, okay? And you have this medical debt that could prevent you from being able to get a job, find a place to live. I mean, that's horrible. That has to change. And look, people, again, who have homes lose them because they get sick. They lose their jobs. They, rack up medical debt, and then they can't afford to pay the mortgage. That's what happens. Now, a CFPB, an informal KFF Health News poll facing eviction or foreclosure in the Denver area back in 2023 found that nearly half of people surveyed said medical debt played a role in their housing insecurity. So that is very, very important, right? So, I mean, these are people that work. I mean, there is the working poor. There are people that are homeless that have jobs, but they have all this debt on their record in their credit reports, and they can't get a place to live. And some of it, again, could be this inaccurate medical debt that you can't really pay off, can't really challenge. And so, yeah, leaving that off the credit report makes all the sense in the world. Now, CFPB Director Rohit Chopra says people who get sick shouldn't have their financial future upended. It says CFPB's final rule will close the special carve-out that has allowed debt collectors to abuse the credit reporting system, coerce people into paying medical bills they may not even owe. Now, of course, Republicans look at that and say, but no, we want them to do that. Musk wants to delete the CFPB. That's what he said. And the House Financial Services Committee Chairman Patrick McHenry, a Republican from North Carolina, said that this proposal itself was regulatory overreach. Oh, great. Lovely. Look, if you think any of these Republicans are actually on your side, well, then you would be mistaken. I think that they want you broke and desperate so that you will work for poverty wages. Yeah. So that you'll be too distracted trying to survive to notice them plundering the country. Because that's the plan here. Okay. They're going to plunder the country. And if you're too sick to work, I also got bad news for you. They want you dead. If you don't benefit a so-called job creator with your labor or your money, if you don't have money, if you need health care, okay, if you need public money to survive, they think that you deserve to die. It is their social Darwinism. That is the dystopia that they've been working on creating for a long time. And I think we're getting pretty close to it. Okay, we're nearing the end of that cycle. All right. Trump is building himself a billionaire's cabinet with the express purpose of looting the country. That said, maybe I'm wrong and Donald Trump doesn't, undo these rules or doesn't, or speaks out against undoing the rules, right? And maybe, I don't care if he takes credit for it and is like, no, I kept these rules to protect consumers. Great. That said, it seems uncharacteristic of Trump to actually care about members of, the poor and the working class, and people with medical debt. And so I very much doubt he will do anything positive and keep these rules. That said, he could always prove me wrong. People are asking questions after a Catholic school in Ohio somehow received millions of dollars in grant money, which is supposed to be earmarked towards water development, and ended up using some of it for anti-abortion advocacy. So this story is wild, okay? And unsurprisingly, it started during COVID when the whole world lost their minds, all right? Now, back in 2022, Congress passed the $1.9 trillion American Rescue Plan, all right? Now, that sent money all over the country, and about $250 million of it ended up in West Virginia's Water Development Authority. That's good. Yes, building water tanks and, redoing pipes and things like that. That's great. Now, West Virginia distributed it via what they called the Economic Enhancement Grant Fund. Okay, some of it, anyway. So how it works is that nonprofits or government agencies could apply for some of that money to build things like a water system, a wastewater sewer system, a stormwater system, or an economic development type project. So, all those things, I think barring the last one, pretty straightforward. But what is an economic development type project? Well, that's where the ambiguity lies, right? And that's where this Catholic school comes into play. About $5 million of that money ended up being awarded to the College of St. Joseph the Worker, a private Catholic trade school based in Steubenville, Ohio, not in West Virginia, who got this money, right? So this was in Ohio. Now, the project consisted of an acquisition, construction, and equipping of multiple education facilities for the in-class and on-site training of the 5 major construction trades of HVAC, carpentry, masonry, electrical, and plumbing. Oh, okay, so that's how it relates to water, including areas for the tools and equipment storage, materials for training, etc. Okay, so that money, $5 million, went to the school, which part of what they teach is for people how to be plumbers. Okay, all right. And look, I'm in favor of teaching people skilled trades. All right, so hey, I'm totally cool with that, and I think there's a need for that. But a private Catholic school, I don't know, seems a little strange to me. Seems a little sketchy. Okay, but look, you could say, yeah, but they were teaching people how to be plumbers, so maybe eventually some of them might build something water related in West Virginia. Yeah, okay, but that's a bit of a stretch, isn't it? and again, it's not in West Virginia, it's in Ohio. So yeah, you might not benefit the state at all, not directly. And maybe sometime in the future, maybe one of those students or a couple of the students might build something in Ohio. It's weird. It's very shady. And when you look into more of the details, it gets even worse, even shadier. So now, turns out this school just opened up in the fall. So it wasn't even open when they made these funding requests, okay? So there are no graduates yet from the program. So no real record of, what the students did after they graduated, because they didn't graduate. They haven't done any plumbing work in Ohio or West Virginia or anywhere. So that's not good. Now, and according to the grant application, this is acquired by reporter Stephen Allen Adams at the Parkersburg News and Sentinel. The grant went for more than just the construction of the buildings. According to a FOIA request from several state agencies, the college's grant proposal for the $5 million would allow the school to expand across the river into West Virginia for several training programs. Oh, okay. So that's how they got West Virginia's money in Ohio. A satellite campus, scholarships, and the creation of a think tank focused on social conservative public policy. We're going to get back to that. All right. But specifically, the grant would be used as followed. $2,150,000 to create a construction and real estate development company in Wyerton, West Virginia. Okay. $1,650,000 to recruit West Virginia students through scholarships and dorms, with the expectation that about 20% of them would return to the state, from Ohio after graduation. Wow. $200,000 to create a second campus in West Virginia. $1 million for advocacy activities. Specifically, they intended to expand into bioethics, about $250,000, and hope to build a research facility called the Center for the Common Good in order to support broadly life-affirming policy in West Virginia. It's about $750,000. So, wait a minute, it's almost $1 million of public money that's been sent to a think tank, essentially, an advocacy group to promote anti-choice conservative policy. And so they asked for that money. And West Virginia's like, oh yeah, here you go, homie. Have at it. Enjoy. Wow. Now, of course, the school is just registered as a nonprofit. So that means that any advocacy would have to exclude lobbying, right? Now, the problem is that this so-called research center would be doing just that. In fact, they're admitting, like, yeah, obviously we're doing advocacy. And so, yes, that involves lobbying. Um, it said that it would focus on conservative public policy using research, op-eds, speeches, educational tools, presentations, and proposals for the West Virginia legislature. That's lobbying, as far as I understand it. What do they mean by lobbying? Again, it's total corruption in your face. Now, how did this happen? How did they even get the money in the first place? I mean, yes, they asked for it, right? But like, how were they allowed to get it? Now, when college officials announced that they had received the grant, they said that they planned to invest $10 million in expansion, with half that money now coming from West Virginia taxpayers. The press release didn't say anything about the advocacy aspect of the grant, because of course not. They're not going to admit that. Okay. What also isn't mentioned is how that $5 million grant is far more than the school's actual net worth. According to the Coal Valley News, the $5 million is nearly double the $2,583,421 that College of St. Joseph the Worker, Inc. reported as its fair market value of all assets for calendar year 2023, according to its IRS tax records. College of St. Joseph the Worker, Inc. reported receiving $806,701 in contributions, gifts, and grants for calendar year 2023, less than a sixth of the state's $5 million grant. And now they plan on getting another Another 10 million? How? Well, Republican West Virginia lawmaker Delegate Pat McGeehan, who was directly involved in facilitating the school's grant application. So that's the guy who allowed it to go forward, right? He praised the move just before Christmas, saying, "I'm thrilled about this project for our people in the Northern Panhandle, especially for our young men and women." He added that this project was bigger than just infrastructure, saying the College of St. Joseph the Worker is unique insofar as it offers a holistic approach to shaping young men and women. One reason why I'm excited about it: nowhere in the United States is there an institution that simultaneously trains the mind in the humanities, like anti-abortion, advocacy, while also in the manual trades. Many of the problem our state suffers from are downstream of faltering local communities, weakened family bonds, and a younger generation without practical skills who are quite often steeped in university debt. I'll continue to do what I can to help reverse this trend. So basically what this guy is saying is that, hey, this school, sure, it might build something water related, right? And if they do, well, then, they could use the rest of the money to train anti-choice and anti-LGBTQ activists. That's what they talk about was, we need to fix the family, right? Basically outlaw gay people, okay? And do literal lobbying for conservative causes. And that's what this is going to do. Oh, okay. Now, of course, when West Virginia officials were asked about this by reporters, they were essentially ignored. The governor's office literally avoided the question. This is from the office of Governor Jim Justice. CJ Harvey, communications director for Justice, says any additional education or ethical components mentioned in the application are secondary and fall outside the scope of the administration's main focus: to get newly trained workers in the workforce as quickly as possible. Yes, but that wasn't the question. Okay. They're saying, hey, why is this school getting taxpayer money to do literal lobbying for conservative causes? It's secondary. Again, they're taking $1 million of this $5 million grant to do lobbying. It's got to be illegal, right? Yeah, probably. But one of the big problems is you have Republicans in charge that will not be looking into this at all. Look, all funds dispensed through the Economic Enhancement Grant Fund are supposed to be approved by 3 different cabinet officials, including the Secretary of Economic Development. One of the problems there is Executive Director Marie Prezioso said she didn't even have those recommendations on file. None. So how did this then get through if you don't have these recommendations Don't know. But getting back to McGeehan, right? Now, he said that he needed more trade schools, right? Again, I don't disagree. But apparently West Virginia already has plenty of trade schools, including in the northern panhandle. And one school is not really going to change much. Whereas a more efficient use of the money would be to encourage those other schools, the trade schools that actually already existed at the time, to apply for the grants. They're already set up, and they're actually located in the state of West Virginia and not in Ohio. That would make more sense than throwing millions of dollars across the border to a startup. However, that is unless all you wanted to do from the get-go is to funnel taxpayer money into anti-LGBTQ and anti-abortion activism, which here seems to be the case. In a post online, State Senator elect Joey Garcia, Democrat, called this whole thing, quote unquote, unsettling. And the state ACLU said that, yeah, we're going to look into this. Tens of thousands of West Virginians lack clean drinking water. Funneling of $5 million in West Virginia water development funds to a highly partisan, out-of-state religious organization is reprehensible and wholly inappropriate, said the ACLU West Virginia Director Eli Baumwell. Public money should not be used to promote private religious interests in other states. We will be monitoring the situation and are prepared to intervene if necessary. And by intervene, he means launch a lawsuit. State Democratic Party Chair Delegate Michael Pushkin says this decision is an insult to every West Virginian who is struggling to access clean drinking water. West Virginia tax dollars should support clean drinking water and functional infrastructure, not funding for out-of-state pet projects. Hey, yes, but here's the kicker. There's not going to be an investigation. You know why? Because Republicans are in power. They run West Virginia. So, like, if they don't do anything, which they won't, then no one will. Barring, again, this lawsuit from the ACLU, which may force them to claw back some of that money from this private religious school. But overall, this is how Christian nationalism functions, okay? Uses public money to prop up religious organizations that are intent on stripping women and LGBTQ people of their fundamental rights, bodily autonomy. And it's so brazen because of how these Republicans, how corrupt they are, how openly corrupt they are. And they get away with it because Democrats don't have absolutely no power to be able to challenge them. I mean, look, story after story, you see in these states, these red states, even if Democrats get into power, oftentimes the legislature, the outgoing Republican legislature, tries to minimize the power that these Democratic politicians have. That's what happens. To strip power away from the governors, to strip certain powers from the legislature, if that legislature is not Republican. This is what they're doing in states. And this is what is allowing for stuff like this to happen. It is sick. It is obviously corrupt. And it's just another example of right-wing Republican America. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, hit the bell icon in order to get notified whenever a new video is released. And if you want to support independent, progressive media through this difficult time where it seems like everybody is shutting down, you can become a member on our YouTube page, you can become a subscriber on Facebook, or you can go to my Patreon. It's patreon.com/Jeff Waldorf. Thank you.